The package that you're looking at here came to me from Wayne's Books, and you can't really see it, but he's written all over it, handle with care, please handle with care, which I thought was a nice touch. And that really is the sort of thing that draws me back to Wayne's Books again and again. I know that I can trust the descriptions printed on the website about the condition of the book, and I know that whatever is packed and sent to me will get to me safely and without damage from the rough hands of international transit. I ordered this particular book because I've been looking for it for a long time. I hadn't found it anywhere else, and Wayne's Books is having their fall sale. This is described as the social media sale, meaning you need to go directly to the Wayne's Books website. The sale typically runs in the fall, obviously ending around the beginning of December. This gets you 15% off if you enter the discount code or coupon code that's available in the advertisement. The book I found was listed as being gorgeous, basically like new, and considering its age and the difficulty of finding it, it was pretty hard for me to resist. This is, my indulgence for the year. You can see that it's been very well packed. This is a heavy-duty padded envelope, and inside that I can feel cardboard. So looking inside, we see that there is a reinforced cardboard box inside all the layers of bubble wrap and whatnot from the packing envelope. The box inside has been cut to securely hold its contents, taped in every conceivable direction. Inside that, heavy-duty bubble wrap around the book itself. So let's get the bubble wrap off, and we find that there's a comics bag underneath that. Fantastic. So now we can see clearly what I ordered. It's the Riddle of Steel, role-playing with an edge. This is a game which I guess you could say is a little controversial. It's a game that was loved by some, hated by others. Some people fell out of love with it later on, yet people still seek it out all the time. Initial and later reviews on certain famous purple RPG sites vary wildly. Board Game Geek, on the other hand, has pretty consistent, although very few conversations about it. The home of real discussion about the game, positive and negative, was at the Forge. The strong variation in response shows that this game is one of those where not everybody got it, and so couldn't get into how to play it. And yet people still talk about it around 10 years later, more than 10 years later. So I wanted it to be a part of my collection. The author's interest in historical European martial arts is an interest that I share. I haven't been able to pursue it in the way that he has, but the idea of taking that information, taking those explorations and investigations and using them to fuel some part of a role-playing game, well, that intrigues me. And the fact that other members of one of the early organizations, ARMA, the Association for Renaissance Martial Arts, the fact that they would come forward and support the author's efforts and the publishing company that they created for the independent release of the game, well, I think that says something. The interior is black and white. Of course, this is before the days of print on demand also, so it's very clearly printed on very thick paper. It's a wide variety and significant amount of art inside, some of it of a more historical style like you would find in an authentic fighting manual. There's some art reproduced from actual fighting manuals, and then there's the more typical fantasy role-playing game art. Now, for people who've read actual fighting manuals, you can recognize that some of the art is drawn specifically from those manuals. I mean, some is typical fantasy art, as we've talked about, but pieces like this or this here, these are taken directly from fighting manuals. I appreciate that authentic touch, but I guess not everybody's going to enjoy it. Now, art like this, some people like it, some people don't. And as I've said, there's a a wide variety of art styles and types inside. And maybe that's what gets at people is these days such things are more consistent. The layout itself is quite nice in some places and pretty simple in others. I think it's pretty representative of a first effort, an indie role-playing game, self-published, and that's cool. Moving to the table of contents, we see that everything is thematically organized into books, and hopefully this reflects a deep level of organization. Only reading it will tell. The book ends with a setting for use, sort of a thin metaphor for our world, but with very powerful magics included. The game was marketed using very strong language, such as the most realistic combat system in any RPG, emphasizing the amount of thought and skill required to play the game. This obviously makes it not a game for everyone. Another factor is that the idea of balance between character types, say between a fighter and a sorcerer, is non-existent. The most intriguing things for me are the decision to publish this game independently and how much it came to influence later games.